In 1956, Father Noiret and Jacques were doing their routine tasks in Tarascon, Francis Parish. During their inquiry of a ruckus, Noiret was suddenly levitated, lit ablaze, and incinerated in front of a shocked Jacques, who then ran away. Subsequently, Sister Irene now inhabits an Italian convent post the incident at St. Cartha's Monastery. Maurice is employed at a French boarding school, where he has grown close to Sophie, an Irish pupil, and her educator and maternal figure, Kate. Irene has a dream about Maurice, in which he beseeches her to rescue him. The Cardinal sends her out to look into a stream of fatalities occurring in Europe that have been blamed on the demon Valak. Based on her prior experience with the creature, she sets off for Tarascon accompanied by Sister Deborah, a novice having difficulty believing in miracles like the true existence of Christ in the Eucharist. Meanwhile, a delivery girl sees Valak conversing with a possessed Maurice before he takes her life. In Tarascon, Irene is terrorized by Valak and experiences an odd dream. Deborah informs Irene that Jacques had given her Noiret's rosary. At school, Sophie is harassed by fellow pupils and barricaded in the deconsecrated chapel that has been blocked off. The bully draws their attention to the goat on the mosaic window, saying that when the sun beams through it, the devil shows up with red eyes. One night, Maurice is overcome by an evil force and Valak ends up killing the headmistress. Irene and Deborah make their way to Palais de Papes and visit a librarian. Valak was an angel whom God had rejected. Lucy's family crest was the symbol that could be seen on Noiret's rosary. Lucy was martyred by a pagan. She was set alight but remained unscathed. Amazingly, her eyes had been plucked out, but her family managed to get them back. The librarian believes that the demon is targeting Lucy's descendants in order to obtain a powerful artifact. This relic was once housed in a monastery-turned-winery, which is now a boarding school. Irene and Deborah find themselves confronting a possessed Maurice at the school. Sophie leads the women to the chapel and illuminates the mosaic goat with a flashlight, causing its eyes to emit a red light like a laser. The red light points to where Lucy's remains are located. Irene discovers the relic, and suddenly the mosaic goat appears in real life as a demonic entity. Maurice charges at Irene, who is then chased by Sophie. The bell tower starts to crumble as Deborah finally confesses to Irene that she believes in her. Irene takes out the relic and attempts to use it against Maurice, but he swipes it away. Suddenly, Valak appears and mirrors Father Noiret's action, picking Irene up and setting her alight. Much to her shock, Irene doesn't catch fire and realizes she must be a descendant of Lucy, gifted with the same power related to the relic. Irene and Deborah say the words of institution, traditionally used during Christian communion, and the room's barrels of wine become the blood of Christ through their faith. Valak is damned back to hell as his blood soaks the ground. When Irene visits Maurice the following day, he appears to be healed, yet she worries watching him depart with Sophie and Kate.